Student, I'm Dr. Shafali Jain, Assistant Professor at Thankar Mahavir University. Student, today we discuss about Block-5, capitalism. Capitalism, first of all, we discuss the history of capitalism. The history of capitalism is diverse and has many debated schools, but capitalism is still thought by scholars to have emerged to northwestern Europe, especially in Great Britain and the Netherlands in the 16th and 17th century over the following centuries. Capital accumulations by a variety of methods at a variety of scales and associated with much variations in the concentrations of wealth and economic power. Capitalism gradually became the dominant economic system throughout the world. Adam Smith was born on 5 June 1723 and died in 17 July 1790. He wrote a book in 1776 named The Wealth of Nations. And Adam Smith, Scottish political economist known as the father of capitalism. Adam Smith is known as the father of capitalism, where capitalism is equal to profit plus money plus freedom, an economy in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owner for profit rather than by the state. When private business owned by people controlled the economy rather than the government. So, capitalism is an economic system and a mode of production in which trade, industries, and the means of production are largely or entirely privately owned by the operated for the profit. So, you can say that capitalism is often thought of as an economic system in which private actors own and control property in according with their interest. And the demand and the supply freely set prices in the market in a way that can serve the best interest of society. The essential features of capitalism is the motive to make a profit, and the Professor Adam Smith is considered the 18th century philosopher. He's the father of the modern economics and also called the father of the capitalism economy. So, in the capitalist economy, private property, which allow people to own tangible assets such as land, house, and tangible assets such as land, houses, and intangible assets such as stocks and bonds to use with their interest and self-interest through which people act in pursuit to their own goods without any pressure uh, and competition through firms freedom to entry and exit market maximization social welfare, that is the joint welfare of both producer and consumer. So capitalism is an economic system and the mode of production in which trade, industries, and the mean of production are largely and entirely privately owned and operate for them. So, when money function like this, it function like capital. When company uses its profit to hire more staff or open new premises and make more profit, so uh, the mainly capitalism, the private property which allow the people to work to their self-interest, which people use their money for the wealth, to increase and also get innovation to increase profit, competitions, and there is a free exit and entry of the market, maximization social welfare. That is the joint welfare of both producer and consumer, a market mechanism that determine price in a decentralized manners through the interaction between buyers and seller. So, and the consumer is freedom to choose with the respect to consumption, productions, and investment. So, capitalism is that economy which work mostly more profit. Now we discuss about the features of the capitalist. First of all, private property. Capitalistic system allow and recognizes the institutions of private property. Anyone can earn, acquire or sell property. The property can be passed on to the here's in inheritance. So, in the capitalist system, the people can use their own property for to earn the profit and to get a high living standard. And next step, profit motives. This is the essential of capitalism. The motive of every economy activities will be the profit. Profit motives is the driving forces and individual partnerships and joint stock companies, and people will take huge risks to earn large profit. So capitalism is an economic system which is characterized by the private ownership of the means of production with labor solely paid wages. Capitalists depend on the enforcement of private property rights, which provide incentives for the investment and productive use of capital. Capitalists develop out of the feudalism and marketalism in the Europe and dramatically expanded industrializations and the large scale abilities of the mass market consumer goods. They work for the to earn the more and more profit. Capitalism is one type of system of economic production and resources distribution. Instead of um, planning economic decision through centralized political method as with socialism or feudalism, economic planning. So capitalism mainly is an economic system in which means of production, factories, tools, machines, raw materials are organized by one more businesses and honor also a capitalism. So in the capitalism, it gives the personal freedom. People enjoy personal freedom in economic activities. This implies freedom to enterprise. As I say, that capitalism is essentially an economic system in which the means of production, factories, tools, machineries, raw material are organized by one or more business owners, and also known as capitalist, um, and freedom to contract, freedom to enterprises, freedom of production, freedom in consumption, and perfect competition. So, capitalists then have workers to operate the means of production in returns for wages. Workers have no claim, no on the means of production or on the profit generated from the labor. These belongs, these belongs to the capitalism. So, as such, private property rights are fundamental to the capitalist. Such everyone is free in economic field. Many people would compete in production and distribution. Sellers and producers freely compete among themselves. Buyers will compete to buy their goods. Workers will compete to getting and planning. Due to competition, the fitness will survive. And next, price mechanism. Under cap, I think you have to understood it well, strengths. So, next, under capitalist, the price mechanism makes an automatic adjustment in production, distribution, and consumption. All activities revolves around the price mechanism as a private property. Private property rights are fundamental to capitalism. More modern concept to private property stems from the John Locke theory of homesteading. So, private property promotes efficiency by giving the owner of the resources an incentive to maximize the value of their property. Uh, and the price is the capitalist is a initial and economic system in which the means of production, factories, tools, mechanisms, raw material, etc., are organized by one businessman's capital, by one or more businessman capitalists than hire workers to operate the means of production in returns for wages. Workers have no claims on means of productions and on the profit generated from the laborers. And next step, prime mechanism. Under capitalism, prime mechanism makes an automatic adjustment in production, distribution, and consumption. So all revolves around the price mechanism, competition. In capitalism, there is a extreme competition between the capitalism demand is artificially increased. So with the competition, innovation also takes place and increase and demand, supply is the decrease. There is a cut thought competition under the capitalism. These institutions, the objective of the capitalist is to pay as less wage as the possible and to take as much work as out of him. Next step, money and credit. In capitalism, institutions of credit has become important. Capitalism get money or loan and develop their business. Means profits are closely associated with the concept of private property. So an individual only enter into the voluntary exchange of private property when they please the exchange benefits than in the some materials way. In such trades, each party gains the extra subjective value of profit from the transactions. The profit motives or the desire to earn profit from business activity is the driving force of capital. Is create a competition environmental in which businesses compete to be the low cost producer of a certain goods in order to gain market share. If it is more profitable to produce a different types of goods, then a business is incentivized to switch. So, a capitalism earn the highest profit by using capital goods such as machinery and tools and most efficiently while producing the highest value goods and services. By contrast, the capitalists suffer losses when capital resources aren't used efficiently and instead create less valuable profit. So, voluntary trade is another related to mechanisms that drive actively in a capitalist system. The owner of the resources compete with one another over consumer who is in turn competing with other consumer over goods and services. All this activity is built into the price system, which balances supply and demand to coordinate the distribution of resources. And here uh, you also study laissez-faire competition. There is no government control over the forces of production and distributions and exchange. It is controlled by the forces operating in the market. So, capitalism is an economic system that focuses on a free market to determine the most efficient allocation of resources, sets prices based on supply and demand. Socialism is often presented in the present further video. We also discuss about the socialism. Socialism is often presented as the opposite of capitalism, whereby there is no free market and the allocation of resources is determined by a central body. But in capitalism has many unique features, some of which include a two-class system private ownership, profit motives, minimal minimum government interventions and competitions. Two-class system. Capitalist society was characterized by the split between two classes of individuals: the capitalist class, which own the means for producing and distribution goods, and the working class, who sell their labor to the capitalist class in exchange for wages and the workers. The economy is run by individual corporations that own the operate companies and make decisions as to the use of resources. But there exists a division of labor that allow for specialization, typically occurring through education and training, further breaking down the two-class system into subclasses. And other in the capitalist economy, private ownership of private property um, is the is the main figures of the capitalist economy, and without having private ownership, it has no existence. So, private ownership is a part of individual hand, cited by the economics Adam Smith in his seminal books, The Wealth of Nation. With private property, owners of capital or the means of production are free to employ their capital in the marketplace as they see fit, with their own interest at the move. And most businesses are incorporated as for profit entries, where the means of capital allocation and production are put to use or in pursuit of business ventures that will be yield them profit. So the capitalist economy work for the more profit and also increase to use their private property to earn the more profit. And next is mean features that capitalist economy work for the self-interest. And Adam Smith says that individual hands in the opportunity for a company to deploy its capital to turns a profit for itself and its owner. So companies referred as a profit motives. For profit companies exist to make a profit, while not for profit companies seek to balance out the cost of the doing businesses usually covered. Usually, companies under the profit motives, companies seek to make and sell goods and services only at a profit. These companies don't exist solely to satisfy people needs, even though some goods or services may satisfy needs. They will only be available if people have the resources to pay for them and if there is a profit for the producer. So profit motives leads to the accumulated to wealth and is driving force behind capital allocation within for profit corporations. The profit motives also allow companies to use some portion of profit to uh, undertakes research and development for future products or services. So, in the uh, capitalist economy, the competition also take place, and without competition, monopolistic will develop and a state of market setting and the prices for goods and services, the seller and the price setter, which is against the tenets of capitalism. So the capitalist economy is related to the types of economic environmental where competition, ownership of property, and free enterprises system prevail. The definitions depict the features of the capitalism. So the capitalist economy is said to be liberal economy because free market determine the demand, supply and price of the market. There is no direct interference of the government in the economy. Some classic example of the capitalist economy as USA, UK, Germany, Singapore. Capitalism is also called a free market economy and has become a very dominant form of economic system post breakup of federal society. So people have ownership over in the capitalism economy. Now, I think, and every individual acts according to their self-interest and consider their profit. The overall profit for the society as a whole happens only with the help of the individual hands, and market has many people selling the same goods. There is a tough competition in the market to retain the customer, and the customer will also get many options to choose from. And here also the main principle of the capitalist economy that everyone has equal rights, and the harder you work, the more profit you will get. With it, the essential, the classic competition is the freedom to choose things to do. With it, research and development of new ways to gain profit is to the motive of a market capitalist economy. With it, in capitalism, an incentive is given for out of box thinking and for efficient product of the goods. So, mainly, I have also discussed the features of the capitalist economy. In briefly, we can say existence of private property, freedom of ownership, working on the price mechanism, desire to earn profit, free competition and corporations go together, gives birth to class conflict. The role of an entrepreneurship are the pillars of the maker capitalist economy. So I think you have to understood well what is the features of the capitalist economy. Now we discuss about the types of capitalism. There are many types of capitalism which differ from country to country and area wise. The commonality between them is that all involve the process of production and work for profit. The major type of capitalism are advanced capitalism. It involves setting up a system in society that will prolong over a period of time. Next step, finance capitalist. It is the most important forms of capitalism that rules a capitalist society. The financial institutions dominate other stages politically and economically. Next time, mercantilism. It is early capitalism in late 18th century across the nation. It involved national to state business interest, imperialism, etc. In this trade form, only within the country was engaged and expected, like the colonists who lived in America would purchase goods from their country itself. Next step, free market economy. In this system, the prices of the goods and services on them decided to people involved in the trade, that is of supply and demand. They do so according to their knowledge of what will work in their knowledge, of what will work in their favor. The government does not interfere in intervention in this decision. Hence, the prices are set free. Next is state capitalism. As the name suggests, the state dominates the capitalist market economy, and everything is organized and regulated under the supervision of the state, and no one can take dependence decision. No government interferes in working of any private working firm. The firms are free to decide whom they want to keep as employees and how much wages should be given. Neither does the government stop any individual from working where he wants to do. The government sector and the private sector function separately without interfering into each other affairs. I think you have to understood the types of capital. I have also discussed it. Now, impact on market economy. An economy in which decision regarding investment, production, and distribution are based on supply and demand, where the price is determined with the forces of demand and supply. Price of goods and services are determined in a free price system. The great thing about capitalism is that prices and quantities tend to move towards equilibrium and for the most part keep the market stable. Now we discuss about the advantages of capitalism. Uh, First of all, competition. So, competition, freedom to choose, rapid economic growth, private property rights, less poverty and health. So we discuss about the advantage of already capitalism in the before. Healthy competition on the biggest benefit of the capitalism is the healthy competition makes everybody better. When companies compete for business, they have forced to provide a better varieties of services or expanded services and give better consumer services. Competition increased uh, growth. It engages a company to find ways to improve, not stand on its competition is the part of human nature. As long as human compare themselves to other, uh, they will they will also try to see the best. So competition is the main figure of the capitalist economy. Next, freedom to choice. In the capitalism economy, um, the we, people have the option of owning something such as land, turning that property into an opportunity such as a farms, a rental property, or even an oil field. If the conditions are right, ownerships and opportunity are key features. So capitalism offers so many benefits. It is and people are free to do use their property and are free to produce, how to produce, what whom to produce. And capitalism is also increased for the rapid economic growth because the rapid economic because the work the people do, they are also get the wages. So trained and skilled people also engage here. So in the capitalism, it means that private property such as property, factories, machineries, plants can be owned under the private individual and companies. And three things covered under the right. Every individual can acquire any amount of property. He can use his property as he wishes. He also has the right uh, on in inheritance. So he can inherit the property from his forefathers, and he can also pass it on his successor on his dad. The price mechanism is like an individual hands that control the working of an capitalist economy. The force of supply and demand will determine the prices and the level of production in the economy. The government will not have any interference in this matter. With it, profit motives, the driving forces behind any capitalist economy is the profit motive. All companies wish to produce and sell their product to maximize their profits. This also um, include healthy competition in the economy. And capitalism, every individual is free to make his own economic choices without any intervention. This includes both the consumer and the producer. So a producer is free to produce any goods or services, and the consumer is free to buy whatever he desires and from whomever he wants without restriction. With it, the producers are more incentive to produce their best goods and services due to the features of the profit motives and ability to hold private property. The economic growth is and economy is also faster and higher in the capitalist economy. This is because the investors will also invest in projects and that are profitable for them. There is no pressure to produce any goods or services if they do not wish to do so for the sake of the public, and all resources and factors of production are under the private ownership. They are used it the most productive manners. This result in the optimum utilization of resources. Consumer also benefits in a capitalist economy. Firstly, they have the freedom to choose whichever product or services they wish to buy. Also, the competition is high, or producers are motivated to make their best product in the large quantity as a reasonable prices. And capitalists also promote fundamental rights of freedoms and choices for both the consumer and the producer. With it, in the capitalist economy, there is an incentive for the technological and uh, rapid and development growth development. So I think you have to understand what is the advantage of the capitalist economy. Now we discuss about the disadvantage of the capitalism economy. First of all, waste and pollutions. Next, economic inequality. Next, greed. Next, exploitations of labor. Next, monopoly behavior. And inequality creates social division. It means, so as we read many demerits of the capitalist economy, capitalism can lead to income and wealth inequality, as some uh, individual and businesses accumulate more resources and wealth than others. This can lead to social and political tensions and create challenges for policymakers seeking to ensure inequitable access to economic opportunity. With it, capitalism relies on the free market to allocate resources and determine prices, but markets can fail to allocate resources efficiently or inequitably in certain situations, such as during market monopolies or externalities like pollution. Government intervention is often required to correct these market failures. With it, capitalists often prioritize economic growth over environmental sustainabilities, leading to negative environmental impact such as pollution and resources destroy waste, resources waste. This can have long-term consequence for the planet and future generations. With it, capitalism is prone to business cycle, which can lead to economic instability and fluctuations in the employment, income, and production. This can create uncertainty and instability for individuals and businesses and the broader economy. With it, capitalism places a strong emphasis on its individual responsibilities and self-reliance, uh, uh, which can lead to limited social safety net for those who fall in hard times. This can create challenges for individuals and families facing economic hardship or adversity. With it, capitalists also create big distinction between rich and peoples. Rich and people, and also has a great distinction between caste, colors, etc. With it, capitalism has a led to unequal distribution of wealth resources between developed and developing countries. This can create challenges for policymakers seeking to promote economic development and reduce poverty in the world. So, now we discuss about the capitalist countries: United States, United Kingdom, Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, or Iceland. So it is considered the epitome of the capitalist economy. It has a highly developed and diversification economy with um, sorry, uh, uh, with a strong emphasis on entrepreneurships, innovations, and individual freedom. With it, the United Kingdom has a long history of capitalist economy with a focus on international trade and finance. It has a highly developed financial sector and is home to many multinational corporations. With it, Japan is also another example of capitalist economy with a focus on manufacturing and technological innovation. It has a highly skilled workforce and many of its companies are known for their high quality producer. With it, Germany has a mixed economy with a strong emphasis on the manufacturing, exports, and innovation. It has a highly skilled workforce, and many of its companies are known for their precision, energy, and high quality product. With it, Hong Kong is a small but highly developed country with a strong emphasis on international trade and finance. It has a low tax rate and the minimum government regulation, making it 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 a popular destinations for the businesses and entrepreneurs. Singapore is another small but highly developed country with a strong emphasis on international trade and finance. It has a highly educated workforce and favorable business climate, making it a popular destination for multinational corporation. So, hope is trying you well understood capitalist countries. Is capitalist realistic? Yes. Capitalists can be very successful form of government as long as people make the right choices. As with any forms of government, citizens can be more influence than the government itself, and putting them in control of the economy can make their country a better place. Hope is strength in this video you well understood the meaning of capitalist economy, the merits of capitalist economy, the demerits of capitalist economy. But in the last, we can say the capitalist economy considered a vast economy and its successful form of capitalist can be a very successful form of a government. So now, thank you very